Welcome back to One Piece Grand Battle, and today we're beginning the Nami segment of the story mode.
Okay.
No Zolo,
Why are you
not
looking at me,
you.
Zoro?
No Zolo, we're not doing you.
We already did him, man.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get a last story at the end after we beat out the Game of all characters or something?
No, that's not how it works. Nami is the navigator of the Straw Hat Pirates. She is a nautical genius, especially regarding meteorology. Among her motley crew of tools, her no-nonsense personality keeps the Straw Hat Pirates in line. She navigates the seas to pursue a childhood dream of sailing the globe and creating a map of the world.
Here I come.
And she also had a really shitty childhood.
Yeah, Nami is one character where they get her backstory almost not immediately, but when hold on, look.
Oh no! It's a witch!
Hey,
God
Onion.
damn it, that movie.
Pepper.
A witch!
God, that wasn't even trying.
Settle down. I'm no witch. Where do you get this stuff? Usopp, I have a feeling you're behind this. Wait! No! It's not my fault!
Gotta go for
And she starts beating the shit out of me. Great incident. But yes, while introduced relatively early, Nami, eventually they get her backstory down before actually getting onto the Grand Line, and it's actually one of the highlights of the saga. It's before the start of on the Grand Line. Because it's a story about, you know, stealing, betrayal, and ultimately redemption, mixed with a bit of mafia.
Alright, so, anything else you guys want to talk about One Piece related while this goes on?
Again, I can tell more. Nami is also one character that there's this interesting kind of thing where, while the story, compared to a lot of other Shonen Jump stories, doesn't really focus about romance, unless it's for comedy purpose with Sanji, or it's something tied to some of the NPCs that Ruffy and the others meet along their journey. There's never anything particularly like one crewmate in love with another, which I absolutely respect. Because one thing that I despised from stuff like Naruto was shoehorning in the stupid love triangles and stories that the main characters tended to have throughout the entire series.
That's not even getting into how dumbly some of them ended.
Yeah, it ultimately is. So a story that, like I suggested a couple of different, other places where I mentioned this, instead focus on what would be fun, as in the sense of adventures, rather than having a tumoric love subplot, is actually, satisfying and cathartic to an extent. But despite that, the series is not averting from fan service, because Nami and subsequently Nico Robin, which I don't remember if she even shows up in this game or not, are some of the characters that after the time skip magically grew, the size of her breast like two sizes or something. And but the time skip is like, I forgot, like
2 years.
1 or 2 years tops, so not that much.
To be fair, Usopp also got jacked after the timeline, so it's
That
not
I
like
can't
it was
believe,
just...
because no, I'm not talking about muscle, Jova. I'm talking about breast size.
Well, my point is that the fan service goes for both genders.
Oh no, well, I didn't imply that otherwise, but again, Oda is a type of artist and writer who tries to balance things out just for the sake of entertaining the audience.
Oh boy!
More than anything. Oh, God.
Boy! Sanji hitting on Nami with that voice.
Oh man.
Darling Nami, as good as you are at predicting the weather, there's one storm you'll never understand.
Okay, that one was corny
And what
enough.
storm is that?
But a bit out of
The
character.
storm brewing in my heart for you.
Okay, now, okay, fair enough.
Exactly.
Same last. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Okay. From what
That
I
was
can
actually
tell,
a fine enough interaction given how Sanji normally is.
yeah, that's the thing. Okay, the thing with the 4 kids, Sanji, it's not necessarily his dialogue that was the problem for the most part. It was his voice. It's hilarious, but
Again,
that wasn't the intent.
I actually don't really mind the voice. What I do mind is his lack of inflections and octave changes at times.
Yummy.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, again, yeah, David Moo's doing something he loves now anyway, and he was even in an episode of Jeopardy a few years ago. So I think it's fair to say he's living a good life now. So I'm okay with it. It's just his performance in the One Piece that wasn't.
But yeah, like you said, when it comes to interactions with between the crew members, the closest we get to something as in romantic, like I said, it's for the sake of comedy because one of the routine is Sanji trying to impress the female members of the crew with predictably either Zoro or someone else slapping you behind and telling him to to focus. Classic type of humor like that.
Also, and nice little bit of attention to detail. From what I've played, at least, this Sanji's heart thing in his eyes. I think that only happens against Nami or other females. Not sure.
What's with the camera?
Cameraman needed to get a stance there for a bit.
Yeah.
A storm in your heart? That's not weather. It's probably indigestion.
I love it when she talks to me like that.
Yeah,
Hashtag simple.
he's into that.
Alright, now it's time for Zorolo.
Usually interactions between Zoro and Nami are very instead dry. I don't remember if he mentioned. Well, okay, he mentions sometimes her by name, but sometimes he just refers to her as a quote unquote as a navigator.
What are you talking about? I paid you right back.
Yeah, but you promised you'd
Yeah, I've already done this one.
I loaned you. Plus,
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there you are. Alright, let's fight. Yeah, I think from what I've seen in the show so far, the most that happens is that Nami takes the piss out of Zoro, whatever he's called today, for his lack of directional awareness.
Yeah, like I mentioned, he's absolutely zero sense of skill in terms of sense of direction. It's also worth noting that before the time skip, Nami's combat skills were relatively limited. She was sadly one of the Straw Hat pirates who did the least. She still had some,
Hey, what about that wonderful time that she stole the boat?
Okay, so what I will say, she was mostly supportive. Thankfully, as the story progressed, they decided to actually give her a much needed type of upgrade in terms of actually the baton that she's wielding. It's actually an area invention of her own. A type of baton that's combined that can produce that kind of weather. But again, in the early sagas, it was mostly played not so much as a joke, but more of a very situational tool that was only very rarely used to actually finish off a fight and was mostly just, again, for support or anything. After the time skip, it's upgraded to a ridiculous degree and finally gives her a chance to stand on her own.
next time, keep your promises.
Why, you...
Riveting.
Break time!
Oh, you still need to break the boxes, huh?
Yeah.
Break the targets!
Yeah, well you get,
I wish we had Xander Mobile as the narrator voice. Announcer.
Yeah.
Well, recently the Crunchyroll, I have to call it now, the Crunchyroll dub do occasionally branch out to Texas.
Are you talking about
For
the
voice
Funimation
roles.
dub?
Yeah, but they're called Crunchyroll now, so...
What? Wait, hold on. Funimation are still separate from Crunchyroll last I checked, or at
No,
least...
they took the name.
They took the name? That doesn't make any sense.
Now it's called, apparently, Crunchyroll Dubs, apparently.
So, basically, Funimation bought up Crunchyroll, and now their names are Crunchyroll Dubs.
Or maybe the opposite.
Also, I lost.
Honestly...
I didn't break those last ones in time.
Again, I don't know much to actually know what's going on in that.
Honestly, I kind of prefer the name Funimation, but That's just me, I guess.
But yeah, they do occasionally go out of Texas.
It's definitely
Hey,
plausible.
Nami, can I take some tangerines from...
Yeah, we already did this.
Yeah, we already did this. The only difference is this time is that Nami gets to keep her precious tangerines.
Right.
Euphemisms ahoy.
Mind, Luffy would probably eat them anyway, so...
Yeah. He's that kind of shonen protagonist.
He's always hungry.
People sometimes call him Pirate Goku.
Yeah, that's because, well, I think the creator was actually very open about the fact that Dragon Ball was one of the big inspirations anyway, so, yeah.
But even in general, it's that kind of quirk of your average shonen protagonist. I think even Midoriya in My Hero Academia tends to have that sometimes.
Nami, what are you hitting exactly?
Asta certainly has it in Black Clover.
Honestly, the only thing that comes to mind...
the private Japanese dub screams a lot. From what I heard, the story actually does improve in both manga and anime as it goes on, but it still suffered from the Toriko effect, where Shonen Jump tried to shield the fuck out of it when people were just not particularly interested in it. Not even outright hating outside of the aforementioned Scream Fest that was the original dub of the anime. But as a story, people just were like, okay, it's not particularly something that will be attached to. But no, here comes, a dedicated video game very early into the life. Here's Asta being promoted in Jump Force. The only thing that was missing was the particular...
I just know you'll eat them all.
Yeah, fair enough. The only thing that was missing was the crossover, main event, because Toriko had this particular egregious moment. Oh, actually, this is important. It's time for backstory.
Holy shit.
This is the person that traumatized and ruined her entire life, by the way.
Arlong!
Nami, what are you doing here?
If you can't pay the...
I'm here to take you out.
Again? How many times have you tried this? Assassinations, poisonings, sneak attacks. When will it end?
Well, when you're dead, obviously.
It ends now. Let's go.
Yeah, they gave Genzo an Italian accent in the 4Kids dub because...
That's the thing, Dwibs. As much as it might sound, a bit too stereotyped, which, to be fair, I don't mind. I think the Variant Crowler in GX was worse on that front. But it kind of fits because this is something that I might as well mention about the manga. This is something that Eiichiro Oda kind of fucked up on his own. Each character is constructed to resemble a nationality that, might be associated from correspondent from the real world, When it comes to Nami, her entire shtick screams of, of my country, Her entire story is about this kind of Mediterranean place who gets ostracized by basically this gang of bullies who are acting pretty much like the mafia, and Oda even did mention in one of those, QA that tends to happen, at the end of a chapter, that tends to do, that her favorite dishes, her meal, is ham and melon, which is particularly dedicated, something that is dedicated from my country. But then, when actually asked the question, what nationality would you give to each of your character, he went to say when he considered Nami Swedish. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Oda is very
It kind of feels out of nowhere.
And there we are, that's how the 4Kids version did. No, it didn't, but I like to think it did. But I would just beat the shit out of him with a stick.
Again, despite being an early arc, the versus Arlong, saga gets very brutal very quickly. If anything, it's kind of like a turning point, because up until that point, the villains that they had, the Straw had fought were more... Still, sure, the fights were sometimes brutal, like the first appearance of Mihawk, the Raccoon Mihawk, but they were still relatively contained but this was basically kind of like a turning point for how the escalation will go.
But yeah, it's like I said before, Kerry Williams is fine if nothing spectacular, but I mean, come on, the Funimation version of the scene where Nami tries to stab the tattoo off her arm.
All right, so what person will we do next, Dwibs?
Well, I guess we'll have to find out in the next part. So we'll see you then.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.